I first got into filmmaking basically in 6th grade. Me and my friends would be skating, and we got to the point where we're actually getting pretty good. And we're like, why don't we just start making videos? And I had an older friend that was filming, working for a news station, doing motion graphics. And he was basically my mentor and told me what I needed to get. So I went home, I typed out this huge, long paper telling my dad what I needed to get, why I wanted it, and all this. And I presented it to him, and he was like, all right, you sell your dirt bike and drum set, we'll get it for you. I sold my dirt bike, all sorts of stuff, got my first camera, and that basically led into high school. I started making films in high school, football team, highlight tapes, all that type stuff. And really just did it until I got into film school in college and continue to get a career in it. In the world of cinematography, there is so many different styles that you can use. And when I'm filming, there's some I want to use sometimes, but for certain clients, that won't work. So you have to think in the back of your head when you're filming, what's gonna get their message across, or how do I have to make them look in the spot to achieve the goal that that client is trying to reach? With years of experience, you'll know when and when not to break the rules and what will work for a certain shot or a certain look that you're trying to achieve. Hi, my name is Paul Schmidt. I'm a cinematographer here at Craft Creative. Today we got a set, a camera, and a few lights, and I'm gonna introduce to you some of the cinematography techniques that I use every day in my work. So now we're finally behind the camera, and if you look at the shot, there's tons that's wrong with this. Terry's only getting light from the natural light coming through the window. The background is extremely blown out. The frame is completely crooked, and there's a lot we can do to this set just to make it look more appealing, and it'll just look better to the viewer if you can just dress this up a little bit. So what we're gonna start with, I think we're gonna first of all, let's just frame this up, and we can even scoot in a little bit. So what we're gonna do now, this thing is not framed up at all, so we're gonna change the lens. I'm gonna throw an 85 on here, and this is gonna be more of a close-up. Right now we're shooting on a 35. I'm gonna throw the 85 on there. We're gonna get a little more depth of field in the background, and this is gonna be more close-up on Terry. That's our main subject, so that's what we wanna focus on. He's gonna say he's delivering a line or doing whatever. If we can just focus on Terry, that's gonna be more personal, and you're gonna feel that once you're watching the spot. All right, so now that we've switched lenses, I'm gonna do a little bit of stuff to the set just to give it a little more feel, because as you can see right now, this plant's in the foreground. We don't really know what it's doing. We're closer now, so that's gonna be extremely in the foreground. So let's just, Terry, do you mind scooting that over for me? Cool, so we're gonna have Terry scoot over just a little bit to the, yeah, that way, a little bit more. Perfect, a little bit more, perfect, right there. So then he's gonna take a step back to where he was. We're gonna make sure he's in focus. And now let's just see what the light's doing. So right now he's just getting natural light from the window, but there's a lot more we can do to just make that pop. So I feel like there's a lot we can do to separate him from the background, and maybe even use some practical lights to make this look a whole lot better. All right, so we're gonna turn on the practical lights, which are just mounted above the kitchen. So those are gonna give everything in the background just a little more light. As you can see, the plant's a little more lit. And then we're also gonna just put a little kicker to the right of Terry, and you can either go low intensity, high intensity. These lights, you can actually change the kelvins. So that looks a little warm. So let's match it right to the light that's coming through the window, which is the natural light. And I think this is really gonna separate them and give it that look that we're looking for. All right, so we're gonna cut that light off over there that was basically evening out the daylight that was coming through the window to just make that even, because basically you could be like, you have a window over there and a window over here. And cinematography is all about telling a story. So let's make it look like morning time. We're gonna set up a softbox and turn up the kelvins a little bit so it matches that daylight look. And we're gonna add some movement to this shot. We're gonna start on the kitchen table. And as you can see right here, there's all sorts of random stuff. So right now I want my character telling a story. He's gonna receive a phone call. He just woke up and receiving a phone call. So once you see this on set, you're like, this will distract you completely. So let's move that from the set. Would you move that for me, Terry? You can probably keep that there. Move the two clamps in the remote. And then put your phone right on so it's even. So phone over there, yep. Closer up, good. So now that we've cleaned up our set a little bit, we're gonna add some movement. We're gonna do a pan up. So he receives a phone call and we're gonna pan up. So Terry, let's go in 3, 2, 1. As you can see, this shot is completely out of focus. So one thing you always want to do is just make sure your shot's in focus. So we're gonna go again. All right. And 3, 2, 1. As you can see, there's a lot more that goes into cinematography than you'd actually think. It's more than just point and shoot. And if you're wanting to produce some of your own content but feel like you don't have the right tools to do it yourself, contact a professional and get started today. Thank you. We Craft Creative.